What's up, everyone? All right, so here we are, 43rd day of 2019. I'm going to finish up $5,000 for the third $5,000 day in a row. It's going to put me up just about $17,500 on the week, which is awesome. The only downside is that, well, the first 10,000 or the first 8,900 or 9,000 was digging myself out of the hole from Friday, right? Last Friday, took a good size loss, down about 8,800, 9,000. So, spent the first few days digging myself out of the hole. As of tomorrow, I really want to be up 10,000 on the month. That'll be, 25% of the 40K goal. So I'm right now sitting about 7,500 on the month. So I need to do 2,500 tomorrow to get myself, back on track. Maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't. You never know. The market today kind of surprised me. BPTH going from a low of 17 to a high of $70 a share, and I only made $2,400 on it. A little frustrating, but you know what? I had the right idea. The problem for me was that the cleanest opportunities were based on strictly following the 5-minute chart pattern. However, using the 5-minute chart pattern, your stops would have been 2 to 3 points away, because the place where it was doing a really nice consolidation was between like $23 and $28. So you've got this like 5-point range, which the only way you can really hold through a 5-point range is to have really small size. And that just isn't really my cup of tea. I like to trade with 5 and 10,000 shares, which means I need to keep tight stops. And on this one, I kept getting in and then getting stopped out, and getting back in and getting stopped out on the 1-minute chart. All the time, the 5-minute is looking good, but the 1-minute's jumping up and down like this. And so then finally, by the time it opened up and went, I was sort of frustrated and just like, you know what? I've already had a couple losses on it, and then it rips back up. I'm feeling myself getting frustrated, and when I feel that creeping up, that for me, I've got the self-awareness over years of trading that when I feel that way, I need to step back, take a breath. Remember, hey Russ, you're up $5,000. You have $5,000 more money than you had this morning. Be grateful. That's great. You're doing well. Don't overtrade it. Step back. In the past, I might have gone back in with bigger and bigger size, and, you don't know how long it's going to consolidate before it breaks. And I could have given back my entire morning of profit, especially if it did one of those false breakouts where it pops up 50 cents and then drops like $3 a share. So, I followed my rules, and that's what keeps me in the game. That's sort of the goal here, is that this is my career. This is my livelihood. I'm not in this to gamble. I'm not in this to swing for a home run and get a lottery ticket. I got to make consistent profits every single day so I don't have to go back to having a 9-to-5 job. That's the reality. It's been 10 years since I had a 9-to-5 job. I want to make it 11. All right. So anyways, that's it for me. Enjoy the recap. Any questions, any comments, as usual, give me a shout out below, and we'll be back first thing tomorrow morning, pre-market analysis around 9:15. All right. See you guys in the morning. All right, everyone. So we're going to do our midday market recap a little later in the morning than I would typically be doing a recap. But BPTH was the stock to be trading this morning. Huge momentum on this one, from a low of $17 up to a high of $73.52. This is some incredible momentum, and unfortunately, I didn't do as well on it as I would have liked to have, but I finished green, and that's what counts. And I followed my rules in terms of not getting in at places that I knew the risk would just be too high versus the reward potential. Now, I'm trading in my retirement account. This is the long haul. I'm really focused on the big picture, which is, over the next 15, 20 years, this account, I want it to be a multi-million-dollar account, continue growing it. And I can't risk with, my retirement doing something like buying, 1,000 shares of BPTH up here at $60 only for it to get halted on T12 and resume, in 2 weeks or 3 weeks or a month later at, $20 or $15 and, take a 45% loss on my account. That's just not something I could do. So, one of the things that I really encourage you guys, to do is, take a breath and try to kind of put out the things in your mind of how this person did. What about this person who made 50,000, or this person who made 75,000, or this person who made 150,000, or whatever. And of course, we're always thinking about these people who made more. No doubt there are people that made less than you today, or lost more than you today. You're not going to be the biggest loser, and you're not going to be the biggest winner. Out of the 100,000 traders out there, it's very unlikely you're either one of those. You're somewhere in the middle. There's always someone a little better. There's always someone a little worse. At the end of the day, none of that really matters all that much. What matters is, are you doing what you need to do to live life on your own terms? And the goal of being a day trader is to achieve freedom and independence, to be able to not have to work a 9-to-5 job. It's been more than 10 years since I had a traditional 9-to-5 job, and it's thanks to learning how to trade. And that means that because I'm so dependent on being a successful trader and generating consistent income, that I'm not willing to take a lot of risk. I'm not willing to gamble this lifestyle by taking a massive position on a stock like this in the middle of a run. Because I know, sure, in hindsight, it's 2020 and I should have put every penny I have into it, but the reality is, as it's happening, you don't know where it's going to stop. And you can see here, it hit a high of 37 and then dropped back down towards 33, 32. 4 points up, 4 points back down, back up, back down. And so, you have to just, trade based on what you see at the time. So this is how my day started. BPTH was definitely the stock that I was watching. It was, right on the radar. Up 51, let's see, sorry, let me, it was up about 30%. There we go, 9:25 a.m. So this is our gap scanner, 925. It was up 43% at $17, 300,000 share float, according to Trade Ideas. So, on this one, obviously we traded it yesterday, and obviously I could have made more on it yesterday, but, for me, one of my goals is to trade for 1 hour a day. It's not because there aren't opportunities past 10:30. It's because it makes more sense for me to spend an hour trading and the rest of my day working with students, doing everything I can to make warrior trading the best place to learn how to trade. And so, as a result, I certainly miss opportunities in the afternoon. But my goal is that I've taught you guys how to trade these setups, so you know how to buy the first candle to make a new high. That's one of our go-to setups. And when you see this pattern here, there's an entry there at 739. There's an entry there at 798. These entries are down to the penny. There's an entry at 839. There's an entry at 868. There's an entry at 1018. Right? Keep going over. There's going to be another entry. Let's see. This was actually a false breakout right here because the entry was 44. Oops. The entry was 44 and it broke 50 and then dropped to 1080 and then ripped back up. All right. So in any case, this gave some pretty good opportunities yesterday through the morning and into the afternoon. Now, let's see. I'll just move this so I can see what's on the scan. Okay. Now this morning, it ended up gapping up, pre-market high, boom, up here at 1685. And at this point, I was like, okay, I'm a buyer for the break of 16, or for the break of pre-market highs. But just before the bell rang, it popped up to 1740. All right. Then it hit a high of 1810. So my first trade on this one, I got in at 1834 within 4 seconds of the bell ringing. Jumped in at 1834, and I was like, this looks like it's just going to rip, so I'm going to jump in and try to ride that momentum. And that ended up being a pretty risky entry because in that first 1 minute candle, it hit a high of, it popped up, it then dropped down to 17. I was still holding, and then it surges back up. I was like, whoa. Just like that, I was down $3,000. And I was like, I've done it again, what is wrong with me? I just jumped into this right out of the gates. But then it curled right back up. I added at 1794 and was putting orders on the ask at 1731, 49, 58, 63, etc. And then I got back in. Let's see, I took a trade on Seal, whatever. That was a small winner. Then I got back in at 23.19. So let's look at that. So I kind of missed a little bit of an action here. It gets all the way up to 23.46 and is halted. And then my next trade was at 41, which was right here. So I jumped in right here, 23.19. This is a nice trade. In at 23.19, that was right there, and it squeezes up to a high of 28.86. Now, again, on this, I sold half at 24.80, which was a good trade. I mean, no doubt, that's a solid trade. I was selling half through high a day, but look, boom, goes all the way up to $28. So I'm like, all right, well, hindsight's 20/20 on that one. Should have maybe held it a little longer, but whatever. All right, so next one, again, like a couple other trades here, but none of them were big winners. Back in BPTH at 25, and that was at 10.13. All right, so 10.13, we're going to fast forward here a little bit. Now, something kind of interesting happened to me today a couple times. I changed my order for 1,000 shares like this, and then I typed, let's say 20, and I pressed the buy button, and the order actually went through for 3,000 shares. And I've never had that happen before, but it happened today. And I don't know for sure, that I didn't click here, but I don't remember doing that. See how I click here and it goes back to my default share size. So, I might have tapped it by accident. I mean, I guess that's probably what happened. But anyway, so I meant to get in with 1,000 shares. And I ended up buying 3,000. That was at 25. And that was, now at this point, we were setting up a 5-minute pattern. So I'm in right here with a break at 25. First candle to make a new high, I jump in, right? And boom, it squeezes up to 25.91. I put orders on the ask, take some profit. That's like a $2,000 winner, just like that. Really nice, clean trade. The high was 27. It pulls back. So there, at that point in the day, I was up about $7,200. I sold at 26 mostly. Most of it I sold at 26. I then, got back in at 27. BPTH got back in at 27, which was right here. Right as it broke that level, I got back in. I was like, okay, I'm thinking high a day, $29. That's the thing I'm watching, but I'm aware of the red doji candles, and the kind of the decreasing volume, and these are all warning signs of a possible false breakout. So I get back in at 27, and look what happens. I'm in at 27, it pops up to 27.75, but it didn't hold that level. And so it comes back down, and I'm selling it, some of it break even, and the rest, down here at 40 and 26.22. And so just like that, I'm red on the trade. So now I'm down. I gave back a little bit on that trade. All right, so then we have trades on XSPA, whatever. Next one, BPTH, right here. So got back in at 10.27 at 17.40. I was like, nope, getting back in. So got back in, and that was 17. Let's see, that was at 9.27. So that was right here. Got back in right here as it popped back up. And it did it again. It dropped back down again. And on that one I lost. So I'm in at 27.40, and I stop out at 25.55, 25.89. So on that one I lost $2,000. And I was like, well, that's really frustrating. Now I'm down. Now I'm up only 5,200 on the day, and I'm getting frustrated. It didn't work there, and so that was kind of in this area right here. All right, so then I take another trade. I get in at 28. It pops up a little bit further, so I'm in at 28, and that was right here. Let's see, the timestamp is 34. So now I'm back in right here, okay, at 34, and I end up stopping out with 1,000 shares at 27.21. It drops here down to $27, and I was like, well, down another $1,000. Gotta stop out. So I stopped out, and that was it. So now I'm up only 4,200 on the day, and then it curls right back up, and I was like, all right, let's try it again. Curls right back up, goes to 28. I get back in at 28. I sell at 28.40, 28.70. I wanted to add over 29, and then when we came up to 29, there was a 60,000 share seller on the ask, and I was like, well, that's not going to work. So I ended up selling at at 28.74, 28.95, and made back 1,000 and was up 5,200 on the day. And that was right here. And I didn't get back in for this last stab right here. I was like, you know what? Like, I lost 2,000 on the loser. I only made 1,000 on the winner. My losers are bigger than my winners. That's not a good ratio. I feel like this stock, with that 60,000 share seller, is just not working. There's big sellers up here. So I don't take this trade. So this is the one that I didn't take. Getting back in at 29. Goes from 29 up to 30, 31. And then I was like, dang it, okay, well, but can I really get in right here? This is kind of, too risky. And then it goes up to 34, and I'm like, well, now I've missed the boat, and then it goes here, and as you can see, it just keeps going, and then right here it gets halted at 41, and I was like, well, I can't buy it at 41. It's up too much. It gets halted, it resumes lower. This gave a dip buy opportunity, but I didn't take it, and then next thing you know, it's just going parabolic, and I'm like, I can't chase this. The train has left the station, and there's someone who bought this up at the highs, and they're now underwater, by a lot. I mean, this went crazy, no doubt about it. And this is what I was looking for, this coiling and then the breakout, and it ended up happening. It just didn't happen exactly the way I thought it would. And as a result, I got chopped out in this grinding, and then I missed this whole dang move. So, that's disappointing. But at the same time, like I said, I did trade this one a little bit better than I traded the last one that was like this. And this is not the first time I've ever seen this. I mean, we see this usually every 3-4 months, maybe every 6 months at most. One of the last ones we had was RKDA on the daily chart. I can go back on this one. This one went up to about $70 as well. So, this was no doubt, one of those kind of setups, where it took off here and hit a high of 66, I guess, right here over the course of a couple days. So, I've seen this type of stuff before. I kind of knew what I was looking for, in terms of trying to scalp, trying to trade through this kind of coil action. The problem is my tendency is to scalp trade, which is to take very quick trades, get in, get my profit, and get back out. And that means I'm a breakout trader. I want to buy at breakouts. So buying at breakouts is when stocks, to the penny, should break that level and go higher. Higher priced stocks don't always respond as well to breakouts. They pop up 15, 20 cents, and then they might drop 30 or 40 cents, and then go back up. So they're not always good for breakouts. In fact, they're much better more for trend-based trading, which is where you get in, you set your stop. So let's say I'm saying, well, I'm going to get in here at 26.35. My stop is 24.80, and you leave it. Now, I don't like doing that because even with 1,000 shares, I'm saying I'm risking $1,500. I'm going to buy it, and I'm risking $1,500, and I just have to sit and wait and see what happens. And it might pop up, and I might be up $600, and then it drops back down, and I'm red. And then it goes back up, and I'm up $1,000, and then it drops back down, and I'm red. Let's see what this ALT is doing. So this one is definitely getting a little more sympathy momentum than I think I was expecting. 13 million shares of volume on it. You can see it has had a couple of nice pullbacks, volume increasing here. The high is 40, and the halt level is showing at 550. So so that's one, maybe to keep an eye on. But again, here, when you look at the 5-minute pattern, the proper entry was down there. So, if you get in up here, this is a little easier for me to manage risk on because the spreads are tighter and the price is lower. So I'm more okay with it than BPTH. But, it's difficult. So, possibly there'd be a scalp right around here at 30. You'd look for an immediate break over 40 and then up to 45.50. Halt level is still showing at 50. But, I think what you'd be kind of counting on is that the high emotions that we've been seeing on BPTH carry over to this stock. And I'm not sure that they will. It might, but I'm not sure that it will. So for right now, I'm just kind of sitting on the sidelines. days like today, sometimes I do best, instead of trying to chase BPTH or whatever the case is, waiting for the next stock to show strength and then, jumping on that stock. And so ALT, maybe it's, starting to open up a little bit here. That was a nice breakout there, about $1 per share from 432. So, we'll see what it does on this pullback. BPTH didn't really do these kind of gradual pullbacks today. It did this coiling pattern where it's popped up quite a bit, consolidation sideways, and then just explodes. So anyways, overall, a good day, not a home run, not a day where I felt comfortable taking a lot of risk. It puts me up, I guess, I don't know, let's see, well, 17,000 on the week, which is a good week, no doubt about it. Again, like I said, it's easy for me to compare myself to others, who maybe made more on this particular stock, but, $5,000 a day, which is what I've been averaging this week, that's $1 million a year. And you're almost never going to get that $1 million all in one trade. It's the culmination of lots of small trades, lots of base hits, and good risk management. So, my biggest loss, my biggest single trade loss, like individual trade loss in the last 6 months has only been about $5,000. Now being a self-made millionaire, having, $975,000 of profit in this small account, could I be leaving all that money in the account and taking much bigger amounts of risk? And, I could, but I just don't like to take risk. I'm really pretty risk adverse. Despite being a day trader, my risk tolerance is very low. I don't like to gamble. I don't particularly like gambling in Las Vegas. I don't want to do anything that I don't feel that I have a really good chance of being successful. And that's got, for me, it can't be 50-50. It has to be more than that. Blackjack or something like that is, it's got to be like, for me, 80-90% confidence that I'm going to be successful. And if I'm not 80-90% confident, it's not worth it. And I don't want to risk even $1,000, not even $500 if I'm not 80-90% confident. So I'll be watching this ALT. We'll see if we get some opportunities on it. Might give us something. Might get a move up towards 6 as momentum kind of carries over to this stock. So I'm going to keep this on watch, and we will, of course, be back at it first thing tomorrow morning. And Friday, do the same thing as usual. Pre-market watch list. Find a couple stocks to trade. Try to make $5,000 and call it a day. All right. See you guys tomorrow.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. Well, I was just working on the dream board for my next home run trade. Hopefully it comes soon. Until then, make sure you subscribe to get email alerts anytime I go live or upload new videos. Until then, happy surfing